So it's brand new. We're just not knowing what's happening. Why are we here? How long will we be here? Will we get to go back home? See, we have our farm, and so we have a home there, and we were taken right out of the home in September. 3 months: May, June, July, August. September 4th, I think August and September, we were put on this horrible train, cold old train, and we had to pull our blinds down and go on a train all the way to Colorado for about, it was 4 days, and you had nothing but straight backs, that you had to sit in.
4 days on the train.
Uh-huh. They let us out one time in a desert, and people used to say, "Oh, we were evacuated for our protection," because there are a lot of people that just looked at us and called us Japs, and I'm confused with the enemy of the Japs, because our country was at war with Japan, but what happened is that, gosh, they let us out in the middle of the desert. They had the military guard around us, as if we're going to run in the desert. We didn't know where to go. Anyway, the guns were facing us. It was kind of a scary situation. One of the soldiers asked for my red hair bow, and I was so surprised, and I always used to wonder, why would he want my hair bow? And in my diary, I wrote, and I gave it to him. So I did keep a kind of a diary of my experience.
Do you remember?
But we were brought up to be very law-abiding and very honest, and that's kind of the culture, the value system that our parents had. And so we're going to do anything that anybody makes us do. So I think that culture really made us go. I don't know what other culture would have, even if you're an American citizen, to be unconstitutionally moved. We did not fight it. We were our Japanese American Citizens League. Um, uh, they decided that we should be law-abiding and prove our loyalty. So after we got off the train in Granada, they put us on trucks, right? They put us on the back of the trucks, and then they hauled we could only take what we could carry, so everybody had maybe one suitcase. When we got into camp, and that's the campground, if you want to give me that other picture,
Sure.
I can put it on the camera, the picture. But when we arrived there, you can imagine, bring the other one later too, but when we arrived there, naturally they were busy finishing the camp. And we were in these barracks, and you could tell they were like 7,000 to 8,000 people. The big buildings were the bathrooms, facility. The big ones were cafeteria, or I call it the mess hall. But I lived in Block 12, which is way down. They were situated in blocks. And like Merced, it was an in-house town. The citizens ran this town, the cooked and did the cleaning, and it was a self-governed town. And so what happened, they tell me that, and I don't remember this part, but what happened is that actually they gave us cots. And every barrack is, we one family in a barrack. Merced was worse, in Merced Assembly Center, there was no ceiling, and there was tar paper. And so you could hear what was happening way down on the barrack. There would be about 5 or 6 families in every barrack. And so it was like wall-to-wall cots if you have a big family. My family, we had one 20 by 20 kind of, and then the next room, which was really the end room. And so we had 2 areas. But there was nothing in there, black, except the one potbelly stove. and we had coal bins outside, so that's where we got the heat. And I met a lot of good friends, and so that's the best part of camp. The worst part is not having any freedom. And so when I talk to high school kids, I tell you, and I read to them and tell them, you know, freedom to you doesn't mean much, but if it's taken away from you and you don't have any freedom, you know what that means. So we had a hard time coming back because Californians did not want us back. They really did not want us back. In fact, a lot of the houses were shot into. It's really a scary story how it's a wonder, you know, people weren't really killed. But vigilantes ran through the town, through the country, shooting into homes. In fact, in Cressy here, one of the family was building a house, and they put steel plating in the front on the roadside of the wall, so that if they shoot in that house, the bullets wouldn't go through the wall. So it was a very scary time. We came back. Our homes, we had contracted to be taken care of. So Livingston and Cortez farms were intact, except somebody else was living in our homes and doing the farm work. And some of the farms did okay, but some of the farms didn't get much money. And it was really a time when the farm should have made money, actually. But I was lucky. My brother, in his corporal uniform, rode home on the train and came back to Turlock. And a wonderful lady, I understand that she was a teacher, was brave enough to let us live with her on East Avenue in Turlock for the time that we had to wait for our home to be open. And so this Mrs. Winters, I'm going to meet her in heaven, I know. But she actually was brave enough to take us, actually walked us, you know, into town on East Avenue. And I know she's an angel up there. But otherwise, no one wanted us back. It was really a scary, scary time. This, I don't know if you know Inoue. He's a congressman now. But when he was in the military, and he lost an arm in Italy, and he was going home to Hawaii after the war, and he stopped in Oakland to get a haircut so he looked decent to get home, and no one would cut his hair. They still would not cut a Japanese American's hair. They're still saying, we don't cut Jap hair, you know. And how that really shows a lot of ignorance. You know, I tell the students when I share that the fear and prejudice comes from ignorance. And that's such an important part of learning and becoming more known, you know, of what life is all about.